but also with Razor, like how does Monkey King aid in trying to, I guess, shut down this Razor, or are OB.Neon looking to pick up a hero that's going to try and help deal with the Razor?
Yeah, I mean, Monkey's job isn't really to deal with Razor. I mean, he'll be able to help, kind of like help. He will be able to aid in restricting his movements in like fights, because Razor's going to want to run down your carry, right? He's going to need a BKB to do that, otherwise Monkey can kind of stop him or help do that. He has a slow, he has a stun. His ult is like terrain that you tend to not want to fight into, so it'll make Razor's life a little bit difficult. But he's going to be a support. It's honestly, he's not like that big of a threat. I don't think Razor really cares too much.
What are your general overall thoughts that you've been seeing so far, Gods?
I think we're seeing Fnatic stick with the same drafting idea from game one, where it's like they're going to be looking to fight a lot. Like they've Kunkka Razor, like they're not these big greedy, like they're not the Medusas and the TBs that we've seen from all the other teams so far. So they're sticking to this kind of aggressive play style. I kind of like, and I think it's a good new look, particularly with Jabs as an offlane. It feels like he's this guy that wants to play fast tempo, get active. DJ's the same. Like those two players last game were involved in like 30+ kills each. So I think they're picking cores that play around that style well. For OB.Neon, I think the adjustment is pretty solid. Like they're not going as greedy as last game with the TB. I'm curious where this Monkey ends up, whether it's the 4 position that puts Weaver in 5, which I guess is fine. But, you know, Monkey's kind of this flex here that can go into 1 position, 3 position, 4 position. It really does have so many different roles that I think it kind of, at least Fnatic guessing a bit here.
Where would you like to see it, knowing that it's a comfort for their pos 4, but their lineup?
I want to see it 4 only.
Yeah.
I do not want to see it on a core. I think playing into Razor and playing into Shadow Demon makes Monkey core like impossible this game. Ain't no way, bro.
And I mean, now with this Beast pickup.
Yeah, Beastmaster this game. Beastmaster's always been one of the best heroes against Shadow Shaman. I feel this Shaman just doesn't deal well with summons and being ran at. And
Demon, to be fair, both of them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, these supports are not happy against this Beastmaster. I think they're going to need the lane to kind of go well, which is, you know, it's Fnatic. I think individually they're mechanically very good when it comes to the laning stage and getting off to a good start. These are heroes that can have a strong laning stage, but if OB.Neon come online like mid-game and don't get run over early, like Beastmaster TA pushes, takes objectives super fast, and causes a lot of problems for these supports.
Yeah, that's definitely what I wanted to highlight with the Beastmaster pick. This is not so much because like Kunkka is a hero that people really liked picking into Beastmaster because it's able to kind of deal with the lane when you put him as carry. However, Neon have a cohesion here between their heroes. Weaver with the minus armor on the bugs, TA, you know, dealing all of this physical damage. Beastmaster enabling that even harder. They're able to take Roche so easily this game. They're able to take towers so easily. They are a fast lineup that can take objectives really well. Fnatic, yeah, they're also kind of fast, but I mean, they struggle to take objectives the same way that Neon does. Razor is like pretty relatively low, like tower damage. Kunkka as well, he's not the best sieger. I think what Fnatic do have, I don't know if this was fixed. I know T-Governor highlighted this on Twitter, but Shaman's wards currently do, is it piercing damage to Roche? They do like more damage than they should, so at his level 6 he actually can kill Roche with those. So they do have the ability to Roche if that is still as it is in the game. So this will be a contested Roshan, hopefully. We will see some fighting around it.
That's going to be exciting because that creates a whole new sort of dynamic about where they want to be positioned, where they want to put importance on the map. But what do you think Fnatic's lineup is now missing? Let's say Shaman can get that level 6 Roche. What do you feel that Fnatic is... Hey, maybe. I want to see it. I personally would love to see it.
I think against all the vision of OB.Neon, you're not going to sneak some Roche. And you've got TA traps, you've got Beastmaster summons. Like there's no sneaking the Roche. Like it takes so long that it's not really viable. I think for Fnatic, they just need that tanky frontliner dude. That's, I mean, DK and Marzipan. It's all physical damage. Some guy just to be in front, start a fight.
Brewmaster! Oh my god!
It's his go-to.
I'm a crowd and I'm going wild. Ah! Oh my god!
Please, Sheep, tell me why you're so excited.
Oh my god, because his Brewmaster is so good. Jab's Brewmaster is awesome. He played it so amazing last season, and just every time it came out, he popped off. Not to mention, just in general, it's great against Neon. They currently have TA, this kind of big carry that they can take out the fight. The Dispel on the Storm Panda kills, it does like 1,500 damage to like illusions and summons and stuff, so it's very good at helping to clear Beastmasters. Summons. I mean, it's a nice hero this game. Very nice hero this game.
Well, with that Leshrac pick, it means we are going to finally see the lineups, the full drafts, and it does also mean that we get to have a conversation with Mike and John.
Oh
so we'll bring them back in.
Hey,
Hello.
cuties.
Oh, stop it. Hey, I'm right here.
Not you.
Oh. Anyway, I'm glad there's 2 more people to laugh at my stupidity. Mike and John, with these 2 drafts now completed, anything that's sticking out for you guys that you're interested in? Starting with you, Mike?
I mean, I love the Razor pick from Fnatic. I think the Brewmaster's a great pick as well. I don't know. I feel like OB.Neon, they, excuse me, they've got a better draft this game around, but considering the stomping that happened in game 1, I feel like we might see a bit of a reappearance of such.
Interesting. What about yourself, John?
I feel like Neon should play a lot faster. Like we talk about some of the issues from the last game, execution was falling flat. This is a lot easier to execute. They have a lot of vision, as God's pointed out, so they just need to play around that vision, push some of the towers out with the Leshrac, with the Beastmaster, and just kind of hit this mid-game spike where once Desolator is up, they can start running around and just melting towers, melting objectives, melting some heroes down.
Well, with the insight of these 2 as well, I'm going to ask a new question, and it's going to be who's going to get the first Roche? One team, one word.
Oh my gosh, Neon.
Fnatic.
Well, we're split yet again, so I'm going to leave it up to you guys, Mike and John, to decide who actually is going to get the first Roche as we head into game number 2 between OB.Neon and Fnatic.
Hear me out, John. OB.Neon's got the draft for first Roche, right? Like, we can't deny that. But I still look at Fnatic, the way they're playing the series so far, John, I can't really go against them.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Like, they've just done really well in Fnatic. It feels like Neon have just been sort of struggling to get what they want. Now, I feel a lot more confidence coming through with a Monkey King. We talked about Jing in particular. You know, he tends to be that playmaker sort of pause for. I feel like the Monkey is one of those heroes that lets him do that. And I think that should give Neon a bit of a better time in finding what they want. And John Well saying thank you for the tips there. That did come out early. That's exactly what he wants, he says. But I think this is a lineup that Neon knows how to execute more. You know, they've got the guidance of Coach Chuan at the back. I'm sure he's given them something that they can play with. You've got Enryu on the Beastmaster that we know he's played a lot of. And I think that tempo from Neon's just so important. They have pretty high tempo. Fnatic also has pretty fast tempo as well. They don't need a lot of farm on a lot of your heroes. They just really need EXP. So there's going to be pushback on that spike from Neon. But I think as long as Neon gets solid lanes out for the first 5 minutes, it should be a little bit easier for them to find what they want.
Yeah. There could be some action here at these level 1 marks as well, Jabs. He spotted out here by Bang, but he's going to be able to just back himself out. Instead, Fnatic will go to the other side of things and try to secure their own bounties, as Januel will be able to take one away from the Beastmaster. That'll mean a 2-for-2 is now Enryu back on the run. Raven gonna show up, but has no way to lock down Enryu, so he should be just fine. And while we're around here, John, we'll start with the bot lane. You've got Enryu there on that Beastmaster. He's gonna be supported by a Bang on the Weaver, and naturally are gonna be against Raven on that Pos 1 Kunkka, as well as Januel on that SD. John, I mean, Beastmaster Weaver, it seems like quite a potent lane, but against the Kunkka, I kind of have my doubts.
Yeah, it's not the greatest feeling lane. You can clear out the creeps quite nicely with a Kunkka with a Tidebringer, very low committal. You're still a melee hero into the boars, so there is still a lot of slows, but if you think about Shadow Demon Kunkka, this just enables you to go for a torrent place early on without committing an X. You know, you don't need to wait for level 3, you don't need to even go for X marks the spot if you feel like you can play super greedy for Raven. You can just focus on farm, have John Uwell do the heavy work in setting up, and follow through. I think again, for Enryu, what he's looking for is more farm coming out, and that aggression you mentioned with Weaver can come true, but considering the output and the save potential from Fnatic, it feels a lot harder for them to find those kills.
Oh, Avatar mode mid lane copying a lot of damage already here from Armel, and I suppose this is one of the other things you kind of tend to expect here with this matchup between the Razor and Leshrac, John, is, I mean, Avatar mode, he wants to get close to get the damage up, but so does Armel. Who kind of comes out stronger? Is there a big power spike for Avatar mode we can expect, perhaps?
Level 4 kind of feels good for the Leshrac. You've got balance coming in with your Lightning Storm and your Split Earth. Level 5, you usually have a bonus point in the Edict, at least 1 point in, so you can look to run down. The issue here is really just mana consumption. It costs Avatar mode a lot to keep spamming his spells out. You do have relatively a little bit more mana in comparison to the Razor in terms of how much you burn when you toss your spells out, but Armel's just perfectly fine. Every single time Avatar mode comes close, static link. Rune control feels a lot more important for Avatar mode as well, so we've got to see Neon get some early movement. We've got to see Jing jump around in that Monkey King,
lane.
show up and help.
Enryu's in big trouble. I mean, that's just so much damage being dealt here as Raven could not get the Tidebringer hit to connect. So no cleave damage on Enryu will mean no kill. Again, the Beastmaster just not having a very good time as top lane now. They've got to chase onto Aston with the Cinder Brew. They can burn right through the refraction. DJ to pick up the first kill once again on the Shadow Shaman this time around. It's another great start here for Fnatic.
Just keeping down that big win condition from Neon. Asta does not have a very easy lane lined up. You know, level 1, level 2 for the TA doesn't feel great. It does feel like you're going to need refraction. Even then, as we see with Cinder Brew, it's fairly easy to burn out when that refraction's up. So you've got a lot of ways of handling this from Fnatic. And we've seen Brewmasters go off to a slower start. This is not a slow start for Jabs. It's going to be a really fast start for him. 13-4. Our TA down at 8-1. Jing can't do too much. He can run up, try to build up some Jingu stacks, but there's not really the best follow through from a TA. You're going 1-1-1. So your aggression in this lane for Neon's not that high, and it's just not ideal because they're forced to swap the Weaver down bot, the Monkey King top. I think ideally you'd want that the other way around. Have a Weaver scooching about.
Oh, Shackles out. Top lane, Jing. He's going to try with the Boundless, but maybe with the Mischief. Does get a bit of a juke on some of the damage, and in fact, DJ is the one to go down, and somehow Jing actually gets out of there. And that Mischief dodge actually juked out a lot of damage on that Monkey King, and Asta, he'll give the tip over.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty hard for Neon to get that done, but if you do overcommit, Meld with a Boundless Strike on top is a lot of damage coming through, and Jingu just kind of gets some work done there. So that's how Neon can enable that aggression. Just a bit too far forward there for Fnatic. Good punishment coming out from Neon. You are still missing out on CS for Asta, but not by much. They're balancing out the lanes a little bit more. Have to see that happen from Neon every time they have the opportunity.
Avatar mode. Just go for the TP out. Scary, scary times there, but he does get himself a rune. How's bot lane going? Raven still having a very good time, though it does seem like Enryu's had the chance to be able to catch up now on that Beastmaster. Plenty of regen coming out from a Bing as well to make sure he can maintain himself in this laning stage. It's Raven just been such a nuisance with this Tidebringer. Because once you get to the home of the Dominator, you feel a lot more confident though as Enryu, and I believe he might actually have it coming out right now. Surely not this early, as top lane, Jing does actually kill off Jabs on the Brewmaster.
Yeah, it's they overcommit. They go for the Shackles play onto Asta, and they just don't have enough burst. Like, they are lacking a little bit of damage now to deal with Asta. You've got the tree dance ready on Jing, so you can just jump forward and counter fight. As you were mentioning, though, for Enryu, that Dominator timing's going to be big. Not quite there. Beng.
Yeah, he's going to try and Sakuchi away, but they've already got so much Shadow Poison on him. And Raven does want to take the kill. Still Enryu going to try and trade. Should be able to get Genuel, but he's going quite deep for this. He does pick him up. Raven unable to try and punish Enryu as the X was on cooldown. Nice little dive there from the Beastmaster to make sure Raven wasn't the only one eating tonight.
Yeah, and that should give Enryu closer timing to that Dominator. Unfortunate that it's not quite enough gold. This would be the perfect moment to have your support TP in with a recipe. They are committing towards mid. They want to give Avatar mode a bit of an easier lane. So 2 supports already showing up to deal with Armel.
Plenty of supports rotating, but Armel's still just kind of standing his ground, and he's going to be just fine. With just the presence of Genuel behind him, he knows he's safe.
Radiant are scanning.
Jing eventually might just have to rotate back up towards the top lane and try to sort something out there instead. So a 2-3 OB.Neon. Much better start than last game around, as they are still hanging around mid lane here onto Armel. Still trying to find a way to set up. There's your link out onto Avatar mode as the Primal Spring is going to fly in from Jing, but Avatar, he's already copped so much damage. Armel, he's out of mana, and now he needs to fight this Monkey King, but DJ is going to rotate around with the Shackles out from the Shaman. They've got the Monkey, it looks like, as they do have the damage. And DJ, it's just one of those great rotations again from this Pos 4. He just does all the work.
He comes in, gets proper control. Neon are just having a rough go about it. Like, the presence of Avatar mode's just not quite there. His farm has really tapered off as well, Mike. 26-5 in comparison to RML at 43-18. This is the hero you really want to play around in the early game. You know, you want him to hit level 8 very fast, you want to max out your Edict, you want to shove in a tower. With a slowdown from the mid, it feels like Neon's not going to have much to play with to follow through from their Beastmaster. And speaking of, Enryu.
Yeah, he's in big trouble. Still trying to run. Raven might just need one more swipe, and he's got the vision thanks to Genuel. In the meantime, Abeng does at least trade there with the Shadow Demon, and now Abeng wants to keep going onto Raven. In fact, they've got Jing around to try and help out. Raven, though, he's going to armlet toggle the best he can. Torrent is there, Raven. He's going to go for the fight. Jing, he'll have the Jingu to proc with the Boundless. He'll keep going, but Raven, no, he can't armlet toggle that time. He's going to drop, but now Jabs rotates around, gives the high five to Abeng as the Sakuchi is there from our Weaver. The Cinder Brute barely not going to be enough. Abeng getting himself out, and OB.Neon finding themselves a great kill.
It's an important one. Number 1 on net worth there for Raven. So they managed to put down that snowballed start for Fnatic, forcing the early movement out from Jabs. Not in the ideal place you'd want to be as a Brewmaster. No one's now pressuring Asta on that TA, and that's going to be room to recover for that scaling carry on the side of Neon. Still, Fnatic looking to play forward, are scouting out the triangle.
Yeah, Raw is there onto Armel, but a disruption out from Januel to avoid the split earth. There's now the static link is out, but Armel, he's still surrounded. There's just so many heroes, but now the neutral creep. It stuns all 3 of them. As Jabs will move in with the primal split, trying to go for more. He's onto Enryu. In the meantime, Jabs just holding, or rather DJ, holding down Abeng. They will get Enryu down, but DJ is going to drop. Still, they'll find Abeng as a trade. So it's a bit of a messy scenario in this dire triangle. Back and forth, but it does seem like OB.Neon did come out on top. At least for now, assuming they can get Jing out of here. And while that was happening, mid lane, Avatar mode's being chased down by Jabs. The Cinder Brew is still ticking away, but it's not going to be quite enough. Plasma Field, however, going to connect right on the outer edge, and now Jing, he tried to help out. He's going to get the Wukongs out to try and protect himself as Armel. He's taking so much damage, but he barely gets out in time with the Plasma Field once again. It's not going to connect Jing. It's still going to drop in the end anyway. They've got plenty of Shadow Poison flying in from the side from Januel. Still a very back and forth game for this game too this far.
You're seeing a lot of good aggression coming out from Neon, lots of good counterfights from Fnatic. The big thing for Neon in this movement is that they're not dragging Asta in. So that free lane up top is still there for the TA to catch up. Number 2 in net worth now, not too far behind a Kunkka. Very good news for Neon. It feels like their laning phase was the roughest part of that game. They've managed to keep that relatively even, and now they can start to focus in, get Asta the much needed farm he wants to get. You have to appreciate Fnatic's warding though, Mike. Very aggressive. Triangle ward here, ward behind the tier 1, just to enable all of this aggression coming through. I think Fnatic's got to be able to play around that, and we are at the point where you do have level 6 up on DJ. So the Shaman wards are ready. They could look for that early rush play if they wanted to. Ideally, I think they'd want that mid-tier 1 gone first, so gonna have to commit for that objective, and they still haven't dealt with the side lane towers anyway. Top is still running, very healthy here. We'll see what the priority is for Fnatic, but until some objectives fall, it's still relatively easy for Neon to respond to a rush, and of course, can't forget the vision game. That is a Beastmaster, that is a TA. Eventually, they'll be able to get some traps, some hawks flying over the area, and counteract that movement from Fnatic.
More of a group up here top lane from Fnatic, but bot lane, there's a bigger group up going on here between Fnatic and OB.Neon. The numbers are lacking though. Fnatic, they're going to get this Kunkka rolled up, so Raven, he needs a bit of help. He'll go for the X out onto Enryu. In the meantime, Avatar mode, and Abeng going to move in onto that Shadow Demon, taking down one, but Enryu, he got left behind. They forget about the Beastmaster. They lose a big target as now DJ's rotated with a great ward setup out onto Avatar mode. Again, the Shaman just setting up. He'll go down in the end, but he's already got his job done. Jing now, he'll try to run, but it's not going to work out for him. In fact, Raven, he had the X out onto the Weaver, and they just wiped them out. Oh, OB.Neon, it was a nice start, but it's just not good enough. And again, John, you've got to give props to DJ. How many times is this man setting up great team fights for his team?
Yeah, he's just been on point. He knows where to be. He knows how to stack his spells, know what position where his team can fight. And Fnatic just responds to that call really nicely. Mind you, for Neon again, the only good news that's been consistent is free farm for Asta. that net worth lead of Raven has just grown though because of these kills. It's all way up at 1k right now. Asta's looking for that Desolator timing to really kick into gear. I think the big issue for Neon in this game, Mike, is that we're not feeling the presence of Avatar mode in terms of objectives. I think they're trying to force these fights by the tier 1 towers on Neons and trying to look for a pick off into a push. Fnatic understands that move and just counteracts it, and now they're going for their own smoke play here.
Yeah, but smoke is broken. Still, DJ does get the Hex off, but a nice balance strike from Jing. It's going to buy a bit of time there for a Beng to get out of there. A nice setup there from the Monkey King to make sure his Weaver can get out. So instead, Fnatic, they're going to group up in the mid lane, trying to go after that tier 1 mid tower. It's kind of hard with the draft they have, though, to be fair. You don't have the Serpent Wards available right now from DJ to really help out. A Beng has been caught. Raven with the X into the boat. They don't have the dust, but no, never mind. Jab's had it. A Beng still going to get the time lapse off, but it's just not going to matter. They'll take down the Weaver once again, and it's into the die triangle. Take the stacks away from OB.Neon. And you are up against a TA after all, so you know there's stacks being made somewhere across the map. Fnatic, they'll take them all for themselves.
Yep, they find that golden section Asta desperately needs. Neon are still not able to really get too much control out in these fights. They are starting to farm a little bit more onto Enryu along with Asta. So the Beastmaster is still building up onto that the Overlord timing. We'll see if it's enough. Wards are off, cooldown, mid's gonna be pressured. Once that tower is gone, the rotations into those jungles gets a lot easier here for Fnatic.
Yeah. Wards have been placed. Tier 1 tower not going to last very long here in OB.Neon. Struggling to find a way to get those wards down, so they've just accepted the fact that Tier 1 is going to remain going down here from Fnatic's end of things. And now the reinitiation back up towards top lane. Raven, he found Jing. The Monkey King has been caught out. With the Hex out from DJ, there's no way Jing's getting out of this one. Does get shackled up, and that's going to be an easy Monkey King kill for Raven. They find more. A Beng? No, he's going to be fine. He'll Sakuchi out. It seems like Fnatic, they have officially found their footing in this game, number 1. Though mind you, John, this whole time Asta has been missing off the map and is still farming quite efficiently here on this Templar Assassin.
Yeah, he's starting to close that network gap. A while ago it was around 1,000. Now it's about 800. The progression hasn't been the quickest, despite Raven not farming as much. Because of the kills coming through, he's compensating. I think it's still important for Neon to get that build up on that TA, but they are applying pressure onto the mid.
Genuine going to move in. Raven, he'll be around the plasma field to give the vision, and the boat to fly out. Raven, he'll have plenty of damage. You lose Genuine, but it's well worth the trade. That's your mid-Leshrac going down for absolutely naught. Zabeng, still dusted up, is trying to get himself out as Raven. He's trying to get in range to get the X off, and eventually does. Keep in mind, he does have time-lapse available, so he might find a way out here, and it looks like there's going to be no dust available from Raven anyway. So he'll be just fine. In the meantime, DJ does get caught out here by Jing. He'll go for the Hex out into the shackles, but eventually should die and will. Still, here comes Armel to try and trade with this Monkey King. And with the static link out, you're not really going to have much damage here from Jing, so he will slowly be sapped away at by Armel. It's still a very decent trade, really, for Fnatic. So now I suppose they could go after that top tier 1. The OB.Neon, to be fair to them, John, they do get the mid tier 1 while all that was happening.
They get the mid-tier 1, and they have the Desolator up on Asta. So this is the moment where Neon can look to force a fight, find a pick-off, go straight into Roshan, and take that early objective.
All around Raven, that's a big target, and they've got the Deso up, so they blow him up. Great pick up there from Enryu and Asta. And hell, maybe now you just rush Roshan.
Yeah, nothing to stop you. The Kunkka's a big part of that fight. They do not have split as well on jab, so this is a very hard engage for them. They are in the area though.
Well, balance off the mark, but a nice trap there, slowing down 3 as Jabs out of position. In they go. Jing looking to move in. So is Asta. Who have they got? So far, nobody is DJ. He's the one initiating onto a Beng and actually gets himself out. In the meantime, though, Jabs, he has dropped to Asta, but now Armel, he can move right in onto this TA, but does he have the damage output? He's gone too far. Now, Genuel, he'll be left behind on the Shadow Demon. And OB.Neon, they're looking to fight back. They'll get a successful team fight their way, and now they can just reinitiate back into the Roshan pit. See if they can get it done.
Yeah, they've got a lot going their way now. Raven is back up. He does have the boat. Let's see if they still attempt to contest this.
Seems like that's exactly what they're planning. Torrent's off the mark. Asta, he's got plenty of damage for this Roshan. They still aren't in. So Roshan will go the way of OB.Neon, but Fnatic, they might still force the fight as they've got the Leshrac and the X. Yules will save, however. Jabs, he's still going to go for the split. He's still trying, but Jing's going to have a great Wukong's command out, and that'll zone the rest of Fnatic away from this team fight. So Jabs will once again try, but it seems like nobody... Oh, Jabs ends up getting taken down by Avatar mode. Just going way too far. And now Januel, he'll be another to drop. And suddenly OB.Neon are just looking a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, it's just a slower start. Their draft doesn't do all too well in the laning phase. They manage to hold out. They build up an Asta. They do the right thing. They drag all the attention away from the TA. Ensure that, you know, the fights allow their TA to farm, and Neon just managed to get their win condition running. Now number one in that word here for the TA. Aegis up and running, so a lot of security here. They still need to start melting through some towers. I mean, they've already cleared mid-tier 1 earlier on, so it kind of evens out, but you want to be able to maybe start pressuring those tier 2s. You've got that spike in Enryu where he does have the Helm of the Overlord up. So the push potential for Neon is through the roof, and they've been using that vision game really well. It's just back to what we said. Jing in game 1 had a much more passive pause for. Monkey King's a lot more active, and that's what he's known for from his last team and from his pub game. So this is much more in his comfort zone. He's able to do a lot more for his team, and his movement as the Monkey King this game, from laning phase till now, has just been on point. Getting the good jumps in, breaking off these fights really well, getting good zoning out with Wukongs. They just kind of need to maintain that pace, and again, just find a few more towers here.
I agree with you there, John. I mean, Jing's been doing a fantastic job, and see if they can keep this up. So far, so good for OB.Neon to try and force this to a game number 3. Fnatic, the one's quite behind right now. It's very scary trying to go against the TA, even throughout that late game. They might run right into each other here in this mid lane. Bang, again, going to try and scan out for his team. Get as much information as he can. See, we'll just time-lapse back the other way. They can't really stop him. And now with the Overlord timing, Enryu is certainly ready to start this push into the mid-tier 2. Just needs the units.
Yep, just get the army to get that job done. And they can just maintain a creep wave now. Aside of Fnatic, the supports don't have the best wave clear. I suppose the Shadow Shaman can do a little bit of work. You do have the blink up here on DJ Mike, so he could look to set up once more. No BKB, that's still a bit far off. No Ag Shard as well, although...
X out, they've got the Monkey King, but Armel, he's copying so much damage, and he's just going to drop. OB.Neon, they take down the mid lane of Fnatic instantaneously. Now they can just go back after that mid-tier 2. There's just nothing to stop him. Just so strong with his timing. They will rip right through it. Fnatic, they've got to be careful here. OB.Neon, they're on a real roll in this game number 2. How do you stop them now, John?
Yeah, you need a little bit more build-up. You are lacking damage, you're lacking survivability right now on that Razor, even with the BKB. The physical output of the TA rips right through. You don't really have a lot of armor to play with. I think for Fnatic, they've got to be the ones being aggressive. It's just so hard to be aggressive up against a Beastmaster and a Monkey. Your smokes just break. You maybe smoke up under vision. They do get a good smoke now. Let's see if they find that angle, as it did look like they were scanned out earlier, so it might be a bit tough to find that. And even then, if they do get that jump in, you've still got the Aegis here on Neon. Still up for 2 minutes on Asta. He's more than willing to stand and fight. And Asta's own BKB isn't too far off as well, like.
And that way, you're not going to be able to really just lock him down throughout these team fights. I mean, the only thing you've really got to go through the BKB is the Purge of Januel, but that can only do so much. OB.Neon definitely looking to get even more aggressive. We are going to have to wait out this quick pause here from DJ, but it does look like he has reconnected. I'll see if they can manage to try and focus down this top tier 2. I mean, hell, the units themselves from this Beastmaster just does it all anyway. No hero needs to really show up, they just need a creep wave. Henry will take care of it. The Raven will be around to try and stop it, and it looks like he will be able to get it done in the end. You will just go ahead and dominate another creep, this time the golem. You could just keep throwing creeps at it though. There's really no risk in this for OB.Neon.
Yeah, very risk-free. The side of Fnatic are still looking to force this fight though.
They're under vision. And the Hawk's right there, so they know exactly where they are. Disruption will buy a bit of time here for Januel, but not quite enough. A nice boat, though. They're going to try and aim down a Beng. It seems like, in fact, never mind. They want Jing, but Armel, he's copping a lot of damage. In the meantime, DJ's been controlled up. Avatar mode takes him down. Jing, he does finally drop, but at what cost? It's Fnatic now just trying to find their own way out. We'll lose Armel to a Beng. And Jabs is still running. As they do find the Weaver for a second, but a Beng's going to be just fine. Still another great team fight here for OB.Neon. Hell, they might even be able to go high ground.
Why not? They've still got Aegis for a full minute. They can just disassemble the Dragon Lance now for the BKB on Asta. Not much to hold them back. The wards were also committed in the last fight, so you don't have that as a defensive tool right now for the side of Fnatic. And for Fnatic, again, it just feels like they need a lot more. Jabs does have his Ags up. He's going to need a refresh. I think a little bit more armor as well. And all of them are pretty low armor on Fnatic. It's so strange to say that about a Razor, but he's only got 10 armor right now. You've got 15 on Raven. The TA just does so much work with the Swarm from Beng. It's really easy to melt all of these heroes. That's why Armel just melts in the front line. He needs more. He's going for the Shivas to kind of try to go against all that minus armor. It will take some time to farm. At the least the plate mail is almost done, and that should help the cause, but they're gonna lose their bot tier 2 in the process. Their last outer tower here for Fnatic, and I really like this. They have the Thunderhide creep. They immediately smoke up on the side of Neon. Aegis is about to go, but they've got the BKB on Asta, which means that he's still gonna be really hard to kill.
Oh, absolutely, John. In we go. OB.Neon, 13k net worth advantage, looking to move in. Keep establishing that dominance. They're going to find Genuel. He will break the smoke, but that does mean Asta. Just going to two-shot him on that TA. I suppose if you are OB.Neon right now, John, you're probably just waiting out the next Roshan. But it certainly feels like they're going to have first dibs over it. As Fnatic, all they can do is split push right now. They just haven't got the numbers, or really the strength to try and take down this Dire's side.
Nah. They just don't have that instant burst to handle anyone. The side of Neon's been grouped up very heavily as well, so there are no stragglers for them to pick off on Fnatic's end. And the map is getting pretty dark. I mean, we mentioned this in draft, you've pointed it out a couple of times as well, but Neon just has so much sources of vision. They've got traps, they've got Hawks, they've got a Monkey King jumping around. Jing, though.
Yeah, DJ setting up another kill. Does find Jing. Asta, though, going to try and punish immediately, but DJ is going to be able to get out just before the Rod of Atos connects. And I suppose that's one way to do it, right? Just get DJ to hide in the tree line and wait for somebody to just show up.
Yep. Try to get some pickoffs that way. Not the biggest kill on the Monkey King. Still worth a decent chunk of change because of that net worth disparity. 14k lead for Neon at this point. So every small pickoff counts for Fnatic. And that just allows Raven to keep that build up. Going for the SNY, so going for the stat resist, a little bit more damage output as well. Gonna be harder to hold him down. I think it's gonna be key in these fights to get a really good use of that boat. They have to get that buff onto Armel specifically, just to ensure the Razor can use a good static link, and use that damage to kill someone off. Like, you can't afford to just rely on the innate tankiness of Razor, because quite frankly, he hasn't felt tanky this game yet, Mike.
Oh, Jing looking to set up. Armel gonna get roared up. He needs help right now. And Genuel trying to get in for the disruption. Does eventually get it off, but within the Wukong's command, they are in big trouble. Armel, he'll BKB TP out, and it looks like he is gonna make it. So they will only lose Genuel. In the meantime, now DJ gonna get chased by a Beng, but the Rod of Atos is on cooldown. No way to lock down the Shaman. So OB.Neon, they'll still get something. Not quite what you would have wanted, but it's still something.
Yep. Still forcing up BKB use as well from Armel down to the 6-second charge. So it doesn't feel as big of a window now in the middle of these team fights for him to just stand and get max use of static link. And that gives more windows here for Avatar mode to just use his own magic damage out. So once that 6-second window is gone, not only is the TA going to rip right through you, the Leshrac damage is going to be amped up as well. And I think Fnatic are doing what they can though. Like, they are just split pushing, they're farming where they can, trying to get that build up. they just need so much here, right? Like, even with the full Shivas up from Armel, it feels like a refresh still has to come in. I think our Kunkka's gonna need AC, which Raven is queuing up. And then maybe something like a Silver Edge or just a Daedalus. Like some big damage to really help them burst. It's a tough game, but there is still a window, and Fnatic will go for the smoke play.
Well, they're going to try. A very hard ask here for Fnatic, but maybe if they can find a couple stragglers here from OB.Neon, it could work out for them. Still nobody getting spotted quite yet. The Ben going to try and move back into the triangle, might be the target. So they have seen Enryu as well, but now the smoke has been broken, so Enryu just blink right out of there and now maybe reinitiate. OB.Neon, they are grouping up again. Mel again being targeted. He does have the BKB. Trying to find a target as they are focusing down Jing on this Monkey King, but within the Wukong's command, everyone's falling. They might eventually get him. And Jing does finally drop. But they've lost Mel in the process. It's just not a good trade at all for Fnatic.
No, it just goes back to that point. Like, your BKB fades, the Leshrac comes in, he just melts you at this point in the game. You don't have the innate tankiness that you want on Fnatic, and you've got a lot of tanky heroes. It just doesn't feel like any of them are survivable at this point. Neon still holding to the 19k lead. They spot the Roshan with a trap. They can just maybe shove in the lane, look for the Rosh afterwards, and take care of it. In fact, they don't need to. Asta just goes straight into Roshan by himself with a nice little crit stick on the Crystallis. It really doesn't take too long with Enryu helping. It's going to be a free shard as well coming out here for the side of Neon. It does look like Enryu will keep it. So they've got the Hawk dive bombing, which is more control and just more ways to catch Fnatic off guard.
Raven, let me chase down now a Bang once again. Just getting so much information for the team. Full Daedalus out now for the TA means even more damage from Asta. This is when the TA feels really, really scary. It's that one-shot potential. In the meantime, Jabs, great boundless strike out from Jing, cancelling off the TP, and Jabs going to get the tip out as Enryu just throws the Roar immediately onto the Beast, or rather the Brewmaster. That's a very valuable kill here for OB.Neon, as they might just try to force high ground here. Top lane, Armel. He's going to be okay.
Plays a bit of tag. You don't have the level 25 talent for us, and even then you usually just take refraction anyway. So no risk for Armel. Not too big of risk, at least. But Neon are still in that position to push, as you said. Fnatic looking to smoke outside, though. See if they catch something big here.
The problem is they always run into a Bang, and no one's ever ready with detection. So a Bang's just going to Sukuchi away again, and it's just this constant smoke rotation from Fnatic in the same spots that's just not working. So Beng just knows where they're going, but now I guess he has been caught out with the X and the boat back. Problem is Jing is there with the boundless strike to try and protect an Armel. He cannot stick around for the fight. He needs to run. Asta's just got way too high of a damage output right now on this TA. They barely get Armel out of there with his life intact.
I mean, they tried, and once you see that committal of the static link, it becomes a really free time for Asta to just jump in, do the damage he does have on that TA, and they're just keeping Fnatic choke out. They're stuck on the high ground now, no room to get outside to find some farm. Neon's really used the vision game quite nicely here. They've used that aggression, the push potential they have with Beastmaster and the Leshrac quite well. And their win conditions just in a steady position. 5k above Raven almost. Your TA just rips through all of these heroes like it's butter, basically. And the side of Fnatic, again, it just feels like they're not durable enough.
Yeah, he's been caught out again. Jing just doing a great job. Armel, he's just tipping right out of there. He knows what's coming. DJ, he'll be left behind to try and deal with Jing, but he just can't do it. I mean, I guess on the brighter side, you get the Razor out, but OB.Neon, they are just not allowing any breathing room whatsoever. Again, it just goes back to the support duo of a Beng and Jing. There's no safe space on the map.
Yeah, there's nowhere you can be, and that's the power of that pause for monkey and the mobility of the Weaver. You can just cover so much space on the map to ensure that there's no catch-up for Fnatic to, catch them off guard when they're trying to play. Armel's still not pretty safe. Avatar mode has a rough idea as to where he is.
Oh, they had the Hawk Vision the whole time. It's going to be another great setup from Enryu. Avatar mode, he'll have a laugh to himself as Armel's just having a very challenging game. Can they push high ground jump? At least maybe force buyback here from Armel.
They could. They are playing it cautiously on the side of Neon. But Aegis is still running for a minute and a half, and Asta can get started by himself.
Push away with the Hurricane Pike. Asta trying to take down jabs from a mile away, but doesn't quite have the damage for the Brewmaster. They are still going to try and attempt this. Try to at least get that buyback from Armel going. Armel not flinching though. Raven gets held down. Boundless is there. He's still quite tanky though on the Kunkka. Asta though with the side blades just doing so much. And now the Golem comes in. And that'll be the tier 3 tower to drop. And they'll just stick around. I mean, even with Armel respawning, you've got the Aegis up on Asta. There's not really too much to be afraid about. There'll be one Rax down. They'll stick around for the range. In fact, look at the Hurricane Pike on Raven. He'll be okay, but it's just kind of funny to watch.
Yep. Neon, they've got this opportunity to smoke. If they find a pickoff, that could be another set of racks, maybe in the Megas.
Oh, another roll round again. Enryu setting up onto a primary target, though there is your disruption to save. Jing is there with the Wukongs, and now with the Split Earth, it's a perfect setup. Jab is going to drop. DJ's in trouble. He's been caught out, and he will be the second to fall as Asta is falling low. They might be able to get the Aegis, and they will. But the Rax is being taken as we speak by OB.Neon. Fnatic, they're still going to try and move in and get this POS 1 TA down. Asta, he's still at the BKB, 4-staffing away, but it's not going to be enough. This time they have got him. Armel, he's dropping low, but not low enough to die. And I think for OB.Neon, you lose that POS 1 TA, but you still find two lanes of barracks here. They'll be happy with that.
Yeah, you're more than satisfied. You get the value out from those fights. You manage to force the buyback on jabs. You do bleed quite a fair bit of gold with Asta dying. That is a pretty good bounce back there for Armel, but not enough to even finish up one of his items. He will have the Shiva's guard up soon, so that durability a little bit more AoE slow with a plasma field is going to be nice. They need to find more though.
A bang again. Look at this. BKB up on the Weaver. Wait, how do you deal with this guy? He's actually fighting Armel. He Sakuchi's away now, and he's going to get out scot-free. They just cannot catch him. It's just so devastating. DJ gives a tip over, and how can you blame him, John?
Yeah, it's a very slippery bug, Mike. With that BKB, you don't have any real way of keeping him down unless you commit. For some reason, you commit your Demonic Purge, which you really don't want to in that support. The side of Neon, I mean, this is just an overwhelming lead now, Mike. 32k up. They managed to get a draft that they know how to execute. Fnatic, I mean, did feel like they had the answers, right? They have Kunkka to burn through Refraction, theoretically, with a Torrent. You've got a Razor who could just stand on top of TA, but with the way Neon's playing, they've always got the heads up. They know where Fnatic's at. They know where to put Asta to protect him. And they always force Fnatic to commit for a support that, you know, they lose Static Link, they lose some of their spells, and Asta just cleans up after. I think Fnatic needs to find a way to reach through that backline, but we've seen this so many times. Like, the vision game from Neon's just too good. Like, there are no good angles for Fnatic to really take here.
No, certainly not, John. They are still holding high ground, but again, 2 racks is down. Are Fnatic and OB.Neon with a 34k net worth advantage. It's hard to see them losing this game, so all they've got to do is just play it safe. Fnatic, though, they're going to go for a 5-man smoke and try. Who do they run into, though? Enryu is around DJ. He's in. He's got the Hex out with the wards down, but the Boundless Strike is there from Jing to try and turn this one around. Enryu, he's BKB TPing away, and he's going to make it out. They cannot take him down in time. His Avatar mode, he does take down Genuel, but the buybacks are going to fly in. Shackles out onto the Weaver, but Avatar, he's got DJ dead. Armel, all they can do is TP away, but they've got the Yule Scepter to cancel it off. It's just a mess. What do you do? I mean, OB.Neon, they just go high ground now.
Yep. Just go for that last lane of racks. Pressure some tier 4s. No buyback on Armel. It's a pretty tough time. I mean, it did look like they got a good angle. Just they lack the damage to really burst anyone in that catch. And Neon, again, they're just too far ahead. Like, high ground's not going to take too long at all.
Asta again with the Hurricane Pike. Not going to work out this time thanks to the disruption of Genuel, but they've got what they really wanted. Roar out as well. Raven, he's the big target. They've got the stuns out. They've got so much control. Raven, he'll try to boat, but it's not going to be enough. He gets taken down, and, well, he does have buyback, but I think it's just better you call the GG, and that's exactly what Fnatic do. OB.Neon successfully pushed back to a game number 3. And while game 1 looked very dominant for Fnatic, John, OB.Neon, they were all over this game too.
Oh yeah, this is the Neon we see sometimes winning out in a big way in the Pro Series. They play really aggressive, they play around Vision really well, they get comfort heroes out for their newer players. Asta and the TAs perform spectacularly when we do see that picked up, and you can see how happy they are with Jing. Like, he performs amazingly well in the Monkey King. I am happy to say, Mike, as you know, from the same city. And I think Neon, when you do give them these heroes that give them the vision that allows them to play aggressively while setting up for Asta, they'll take it. And I think that's something Fnatic's got to be worried about now, because they showed her hand with a Monkey King. There's a reason why Jing plays that a lot. Neon just knows how to play around where on the map they have to be at with these kinds of heroes.
Yeah, I mean, you had the Weaver and the Beastmaster on top, right? So you just couldn't escape. Like, they always had vision over every single area of the map, and props to OB.Neon, great drafting and great play. So we are going to head to a short break, and right after that break, we'll be back with our panel for game number 3.